Naledi woke up early that morning, ready for another day at the University of Johannesburg. She stretched, smiled, and reminded herself that every day was a chance to get closer to the future she had promised her parents. After getting dressed neatly, Naledi left her residence and walked across the beautiful university campus. She carried her backpack and admired the busy environment around her. As she walked toward class, she heard someone calling her name. It was Zoma. "Good morning, Naledi," Zoma said with a bright smile. "Good morning, Zoma," Naledi replied. The two girls walked together toward their lecture. When they entered the classroom, the lecturer welcomed everyone and began the lesson. Naledi paid close attention. She opened her notebook and carefully wrote down everything the lecturer said. "I don't want to miss anything," Naledi whispered to herself. After the lecture ended, the students packed their bags. Naledi was about to leave when Ayanda invited her to lunch. "Come eat lunch with us," Ayanda said. "I'd love to," Naledi replied. Naledi joined Zoma, Ayanda, and Lindau at a table. They ate together and laughed about university life. "University life is fun," Lindau said. "I'm enjoying it," Naledi replied with a smile. Suddenly, Thabo arrived carrying his books. "Hello, Naledi," he greeted her. "Hello, Thabo." Thabo looked at her and said, "Don't forget to study." "Thank you," Naledi replied politely. After Thabo left for the library, the girls continued talking. "Life isn't only about books," Ayanda joked. Then Zoma took out her phone and showed Naledi pictures from the previous weekend. "Look where we went last weekend." Naledi stared at the beautiful pictures. "Wow, it looks amazing," she said. Zoma smiled. "Come with us this Saturday." Naledi hesitated. "I'll think about it." For the first time, Naledi found herself caught between two different worlds. Thabo reminded her of the future she came to Johannesburg to build, while her new friends were showing her a life filled with excitement, fun, and nightlife. She didn't know it yet, but that simple invitation would become the beginning of a dangerous change in her life. Naledi sat quietly on a bench, thinking about the invitation from her friends. She had come to Johannesburg with a clear purpose: to study hard, succeed, and make her parents proud. But now, the excitement of city life was beginning to pull at her. Her phone suddenly rang. It was Zoma. "Don't forget Saturday," Zoma reminded her. Naledi smiled. "I remember." She put her phone away and headed to the university library. She knew she needed to study before allowing herself to enjoy the weekend. Inside, she found Thabo already sitting with his books. "I'm happy you came," he said. "I need to prepare," Naledi replied. They studied together for a while. Thabo remained focused, reminding Naledi that hard work was the key to achieving their dreams. "Hard work always pays," he told her. But then Naledi's phone buzzed. It was a message from Zoma. "We are shopping tomorrow." Naledi couldn't stop herself from smiling. "That sounds fun," she whispered. Thabo noticed the change in her expression. "Stay focused," he warned. Naledi looked at her books, then slowly closed them. "I'll study again later." The next morning was Saturday, and Naledi woke up with a smile. For once, she wasn't thinking about assignments or exams. "Today will be exciting," she said. She dressed carefully, choosing a stylish pink dress and white sneakers. When she stepped outside, Zoma, Ayanda, and Linda were already waiting. "Let's go," Zoma shouted excitedly. The four girls walked through the university gate, laughing and talking as they headed into the city. "Johannesburg is waiting," Ayanda said. Soon, they arrived at a huge modern shopping mall. Naledi stared at the buildings and bright displays in amazement. "This place is huge." Inside a clothing store, the girls searched through beautiful outfits. Linda suddenly held up a dress. "Try this dress." Naledi changed and stood before the mirror. Zoma smiled. "You look beautiful." "Really?" Naledi asked, admiring herself. The girls took selfies, laughed together, and later enjoyed a meal at a modern restaurant. Naledi leaned back happily. "I'm having so much fun." Then Zoma leaned closer. "Tonight we're going to conquer." Naledi hesitated. She knew she should return to campus and study. But after a moment, she smiled. "Okay. I'll come." She didn't know it yet, but that simple decision was about to change her life. That evening, Naledi went out with Zoma, Ayanda and Lindau. It was her first time experiencing the exciting nightlife of Johannesburg, and she had no idea how much the night would stay in her mind. When the girls arrived at Conquer, Naledi looked around in amazement. Bright lights filled the entrance, and luxury cars were parked outside. The place looked beautiful, modern and expensive. Naledi could hardly believe that she was finally there. She smiled and said, "This place is beautiful." Zoma smiled back at her and said, "Welcome to Conquer." The four girls walked through the entrance together. Naledi slowly looked around the stylish venue. Everything around her looked different from the life she was used to. The beautiful decorations, bright lights and expensive surroundings made her feel as if she had entered another world. Naledi looked around and said, "Everything looks expensive." Ayanda smiled and told her, "Relax and enjoy yourself." The girls found a modern lounge table and sat together. They were happy to be away from their normal university routine. A few moments later, a waiter came to their table and placed soft drinks in front of them. "Enjoy your evening," the waiter said. Naledi picked up her drink and took a sip. She smiled. "This tastes nice." She continued looking around while talking with her friends. Then she noticed several stylish young men walking through the venue. They wore elegant clothes and expensive-looking watches. They looked confident and successful. Naledi watched them for a moment and said, "They look successful." Zoma suddenly smiled and waved across the room. "Our friends are here." Two fashionable young men soon walked over and greeted the girls politely. "Good evening," one of them said. The girls smiled as the young men joined them. Zoma introduced Naledi. "This is Naledi." One of the young men smiled at her. "Nice to meet you." Naledi smiled politely. "Nice to meet you too." Everyone stood together for a moment before sitting down and talking. The conversation was friendly, and Naledi quickly became comfortable. One of the young men looked at her and asked, "What are you studying?" Naledi smiled proudly. "I'm studying at UJ." She felt proud saying it because she knew how hard she had worked to get there. The conversation continued, and soon everyone was laughing. Naledi laughed naturally with the group. "You're funny," she said. The young man smiled and continued talking with her. A short while later, he complimented her. "You're very intelligent." Naledi smiled, "Thank you." For the moment, she was simply enjoying herself. She was laughing with her friends, meeting new people and experiencing a side of Johannesburg she had never seen before. The evening continued as everyone talked happily around the table. "Tonight is unforgettable," Lindau said. Naledi smiled, enjoying the moment. But while the girls were having fun, Thabo was spending his evening in a completely different way. He sat alone in the university library, surrounded by books and notes. He knew the tests were getting closer, and he was already preparing. "The tests are getting closer," Thabo said as he continued studying. Meanwhile, Naledi suddenly checked her phone and looked surprised. "It's already late." The girls realized that it was time to leave. Zoma stood up and said, "Let's go home." The group walked out of the venue together. Later that night, Naledi returned to her residence carrying her handbag. As she walked quietly toward her room, she thought about everything that had happened. Today was different, she said. When she entered her room, she saw her books waiting on the study desk. She stood there for a moment, looking at them while the city lights shone through the window. She knew she should study. But she was tired. Naledi looked at her books and quietly said, "I'll study tomorrow." She then went to sleep. She did not realize that tomorrow would bring an important test, and every small choice she made was slowly pulling her further away from the dream she had promised her parents. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more emotional African stories. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.